Okay, here's the big one: reliability and mechanical condition. When we took our poll on the High Life page about what are the most important of these top 5 to our customers, people that are following us, reliability came in at number 1. And when it comes to reliability, usually when vehicles are running rough, a lot of buyers will just want to absolutely ditch their vehicle and just get rid of it because, one, they got scared off by a crazy high quote from a mechanic, or two, they think there's something catastrophic wrong with it and they haven't even looked into it yet. So sometimes you can get some really good buys. Sometimes you can get majorly fooled. We've had it countless times where people think it's just going to be a simple little fix, and then it turns into a cobweb. It's happened to me many, many times. So I just wanted to give you a couple examples of vehicles that you could buy and potentially fix up. This one right here is a 2007 Jeep Compass. Nothing too special on the vehicle, but it runs a little rough. Okay, it's only got 150,000 miles, but we're selling this thing for $1,200. Okay, so it's a fairly cheap unit. It runs and drives, but it takes a little long to start and it runs a little rough. We checked the motor out. We checked the compression. Compression tells you a lot about the health of the motor and what it is. And it was really, really high, like over 200 PSI. But it's still just struggling a little bit. Well, the codes are pulling up that it's a crank sensor. Now, it could be a crank sensor. It could be something else. This is an example of, hey, if you fix this vehicle up, this is probably a $2,000 to $3,000 vehicle when it's running and driving right. We're selling it for $1,200. Is that worth fixing up or not fixing up? When it comes to that mechanical and reliability aspect of vehicles, you really just kind of got to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, have I done the job before? Do I have the equipment to do the job? Do I have the knowledge to do the job? Do I have friends that have those things? I just want to give you a couple more examples. We have a 2013 Honda Odyssey. Go ahead and flip you around. We got this one in, kind of the same deal. Guy traded it in. He didn't want to mess with it anymore. But we were able to get this for about half of what they're going through at the auctions. Half of what they're going through. I'm going to clean my lens off so you can see a bit better. So we were able to get this one fairly cheap, but it's got a misfire to it. And so with a misfire, you got to ask yourself, one, is it just simple, like spark plugs or a coil pack, something like that? Or is it something more severe? Could it be a bad cylinder, a bad engine? And so you definitely want to have the knowledge. You don't want to jump into any kind of mechanical problems unless you know what you're doing. But again, mechanical problems, they can be small, they can be big, and that's where it really requires that knowledge there. One last example I wanted to give you is this Passat right here. We're selling this one for $1,000. The car runs and drives actually really, really good, but it's got a water leak. Obviously, when you have a water leak and you run out of water, your car is going to overheat. And so this one, we're selling cheap. I get busy in the shop, I like to take on mechanic jobs. I don't mind doing timing jobs on some, but I'll do them on a Hemi and I'll do them on like the little 1.4 Chevy vehicles, but I'm doing one on a Nissan right now and I'm at a loss on some of this stuff and I just don't know what I'm doing. And so make sure you know what you're doing. A Passat is going to be a lot different than a Honda. A Honda is going to be a lot different than a Jeep. And so you want to be honest with yourself when it comes to that mechanical ability. If you're going to sacrifice on mechanical ability, be honest with yourself. Make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you have that tools and equipment and different things like that, because people can really get in over their head if they don't know the ins and outs of motors. And there's certain things you can check out beforehand on the test drive. There's lots of little tricks that you can do and tests you can do even in parking lots, just out on the drive, to be able to confirm whether this is a vehicle worth fixing or whether your diagnosis of what you think it is it. Or just go to YouTube, do some research. Just type in, like, does a fuel filter do this? For example, when you slam on the gas, if it wants to die, typically that's a fuel filter. But on a lot of these newer vehicles, they don't have inline fuel filters. So then what would it be? So do your research. Don't just jump to that, it's going to be an easy fix conclusion, and make sure you know what you're doing and can handle that problem. Because if you take it to a shop, labor rates have gone through the roof. And some we've been hearing new car dealers at their shops are charging close to $200 an hour now. So you definitely don't want to get in over your head when it comes to mechanical ability. But if you know what you're doing, you know the problems, and you can buy it right, and you can buy a mechanically challenged vehicle right, you can get a great deal, fix it up, and still make some money.